Happy Friday, everyone. It's 8:01 a.m. Chicago time on the 10th of June, 2016. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results. The overnight session brings in some pretty interesting volatility, especially across the DAX and the Euro stocks, on comments from Draghi earlier in the session. Um, Oil is also off. By the way, the DAX is off 250 points, which is a lot, 2.48%. The Euro stocks down 72 points, down 2.44%. Crude oil inventories down. Crude oil for July is down 1.64%. And then the next weakest indices are the Russell, the Nasdaq, the S&P, and the Dow in order of magnitude. The euro is down 29 pips. The yen is flat. Gold is flattish. The Eurobond is slightly higher. The Treasury, the 10-year note is slightly higher. 10-year note futures, the U.S. dollar index is up 0.27, and the bond is the strongest of the futures universe that I watch. This essentially tells us that there is a flight to safety this morning, and we could see it in the gap down and the selling that is currently going on. Let me turn on my alerts here. So that's basically what is happening. Bond yields around the globe are at record lows. The global bonds are seeing safe haven flows amid concerns about a slowing global economy and the upcoming Brexit vote. Germany's 10-year yield pressed to less than 2 basis points in early action, while Britain's 10-year hit 1.22%, both record lows. In the U.S., the 10-year yield's down to 1.66% and flirting with its lowest level since January 2015. The Russian bank cut rates by 50 basis points to 10.5%. And the great state of Illinois, where I live here in Chicago, was downgraded by Moody's to the lowest rating, the lowest state rating since the state of Massachusetts in 1992. Illinois is currently rated at BAA2 from BAA1 because we just can't get our act together. So that's really what's out there. I figured I'd throw in the bit about Illinois just because I live here. Other than that, what we're expecting for the session today. We have University of Michigan prelim. This could introduce volatility. This is an important figure. Expecting 94.0 for June, 94.0 for University of Michigan confidence prelim. And of course, we have the Baker Hughes at noon Central, 1 Eastern. Again, University of Michigan is at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. And then we have the monthly budget statement at 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 Central, expecting a deficit of $56 billion for the month of May. Again, there was a slew of ECB speakers this morning, starting just an hour after, actually starting with the cash open. Weidemann, then Vilroy came on, and then Rimcevic, and then Constancio, and then there were comments also by Draghi, and that's caused the sell-off we see in the overnight session. We'll look at that on the overnight here on the charts. Let's switch gears. A quick look at what was expected yesterday. Both hypotheses had us attempting higher yesterday. Let's switch the resolution here so you can see it clearly. Primary hypothesis, responsive buying back to the prior day's range low, and I'm finding sellers in that area. I expected it to push down and hold below this line, this LVN line right here, for a fairly choppy session for the rest of the day. Hypo Hypo 2 had a slight variation in that it is likely to open auction out of range, chop, attempt lower, and then push higher. The idea behind um, Hypo 2 is an attempt lower at first, and then for it to push higher into the prior day's range and retest. The target for Hypo 2 was approximately 2107, the LVN right here. Um, So that's what was expected. Here's what we actually got: a complete open auction on the start. A complete open auction on the start, and so we had an open auction here, and then the market started to create almost like a megaphone short term. We tested lower. We tested lower down to 20.97 and a quarter, and then we pushed back up, pull back to the mid. This was a nice setup here, and we went back into the prior day's range. Notice that it held value low on the first test at 21.05 quarter before pulling back. So, um, so overall, pretty orderly auction, and what it did do is play hypothesis number 2 yesterday. And notice that hypothesis number 2 has played out on almost every day this week. We only played hypo 1 once. The market is playing out the lower probability play according to my expectations for the auction. It keeps moving to hypo 2 and essentially fighting back the continuation move of the auction. So that's what we have so far. Let's take a look at the overnight session. Here's the overnight session. We had a pretty dull Asian session, and then we just absolutely explode downwards on the European Open, and we continue to push this low 2089.75 currently, and 2089 quarter low has just been pushed. The point of control is shifting downwards. This looks very heavy. Again, the DAX and Euro stocks are leading this down. The European markets are getting hit, and overall the market is not looking too healthy this morning. We also saw some selling across Asia. The Hang Seng down 1.21%, the FTSE down 2.11% this morning. The FTSE trading at 6103.3, and the CAC is also down 2.18. These kinds of days where there's a 2% plus drop in these indices generally, not always, generally bring in selling on the session on the open. So the primary hypothesis is to the sell side, as you would expect. I want to remind you, just while I have this up, we are trading right here, okay? And we are inside of the microcomposite balance, this really tight balance area that we put in from May 25th through last Friday through June 3rd. And we're approaching the value area. It's a very boxy profile. So I was looking for some support coming in today. I was looking for some initial support, the 87 area. So the expectation this morning is for an open auction, potentially pushing lower almost immediately into this 87 area, and I expect it to fight in this high volume area right here. I expect it to battle this and then make an attempt higher. So I expect it to push lower and then push up on hypo 1. That's hypo 1 for today. I expect it to get dull pretty quickly. We are tangled in this volume. We're tangled in this high volume zone from balance from the 25th to the 3rd of last week. So that's hypo 1 open auction, downward skew, and then I'm expecting buyers to step in later in the session. If my voice is cutting off during this broadcast, all you have to do is move the move the scale back, move the time scale back a few seconds and listen back to what I just said so that it's more clear. It's nothing that I can control from my end. Um, the secondary hypothesis, however, is highly dependent on the first rotation. Okay, so it's hard to predict that, but if the first rotation is up, then the expectation is we find sellers early and we end up pushing back down, and the target is 78.50. 78.50. That's hypo 2 if we push up initially. So I'm looking for a reversal. So you saw in hypo 1 a drift down and a push up. Hypo 2, if we get a push up immediately, that becomes hypo 2 looking for sellers and then a push to 78.50. Hypo 3 is a push down that gets responsive fairly early and starts to move away out of this balance zone. I don't expect that to happen today, but it is in the cards. We are opening out of range in balance from in microcomposite balance. So a lot can happen in this area because of the volume that's already traded down here. Anyway, that's a lot to cover, I know, but I want to remind you again, it is Friday. It's a good day to get really emotional as a trader and get caught up. And it's just a terrible way to start your weekend. As always, Fridays are days we always want to watch our risk. We always want to measure our risk versus our opportunity to make money as traders. Period. But Friday's one of those days where people just tend to get caught up in the action, and it's just the worst day to go into the weekend with a hole in your pocket. So be picky today. Wait for the market. Wait for that Michigan sentiment figure. It is a market mover generally. Wait for that Michigan sentiment and then see who commits what in the market, which side commits and pushes, and then go with that side. Good luck, and I'll catch you on Monday. By the way, next Thursday we have a spotlight event. We're going to bring on two professional hedge fund managers who are trading automated systems, and we want to do an interview with them. We'll announce that. I'll post that. It's a convergence event. We're spotlighting automated systems next Thursday after the close at 3:30 Central, 4:30 Eastern. Stay tuned for that. Take care.